So when you're working on the new thing here, try your best to just start at 160 right off the bat. If it seems too difficult, then definitely use the first couple bars to warm up into it. So what I would advise doing here is basically start the first 2 bars, and then make sure you do that at 160, and then add a bar. Add a bar. You just keep adding a bar as you go, and if you could set a stopwatch to see how long it takes you to do these things, that would be great. Good information to have. So you will be getting more practice with the scale shapes here because all this stuff is in the scale shapes you've been learning. So it'll just be like connecting them, going horizontally up the fretboard. So let's go ahead and demo this guy. Extra cool points if you can do a pinch harmonic on the last note. Okay, so yeah, just work on just hitting that and getting used to starting off at 160 is like a non-warmed up speed. Keep working on the legato thing from last time. Also do a stopwatch and see how long it takes you to get to a top speed. And remember, just stick with that exercise. Don't go to anything else. When you need to take your little breaks there, 30 seconds, 60 seconds would be good there. And really make sure all the fatigue is out of your arm, and then start going again. And my rule of thumb is if I'm making 5 mistakes, or it takes 5 attempts to actually get the speed, when I finally get that next attempt, then I call it a day. So definitely just call it there. Because you could technically push it further, but because of laws of diminished returns, you're not going to get much further, and it's going to take way more energy and way more effort to get it there. So we don't need to do that yet. We're still very early in the stage of this stuff here. So I believe we started with triad explanation stuff and writing out the names of the 3 notes for each of the chords. So for the A major chord, you start on an A note. And all you need to do is remember the first 5 notes of the major scale shape, and then you go from there. So you can say the notes as you go, not a bad idea. Basically, every chord that you have, you're going to be skipping every other note name, no matter what. No matter if it's a sharp note you begin with, or if it's a flat note you begin with, if it's a natural note you begin with, you're always going to skip every other note name, because you've got to use all 7 notes. And think of how you're numbering everything. So everything's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're playing the 1st, 3rd, and 5th notes. So we always have to skip the 2nd and the 4th note name in the scale. So skipping every other note name. So even if you just wrote out every other note name as like a template or a little skeleton, whatever you want to call it, that can help you greatly. And then you just like the worksheet you did with adding sharps or flat symbols when needed to make the major scale correct, you can do the same thing with the chord theory. You can just write out every other note name for all the root notes that happen, and then put in a sharp and or flat symbol when needed to make the note correct. So, like with that A chord, see A, so you write down A, and then you 1, 2, 3, which lands you on a C sharp. So you got A, B, that's a C sharp. So then you write down the C sharp, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or A, B, C sharp, D, E, and then you write down the E. And then I believe the C chord is next. So same idea, starting on the C note. And then 1, 2, 3, so C, D, E, and you write down the E, and then start over again so you can see that you're going up 5 positions in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the G note there, you put that down. Now let's say you're doing minor chord stuff, if you got the time and you want to try the minors. So we'll take the C minor for example. So again, start on C, you write that down, then you go 1, 2, 3, and then flat that. So I want you to do that so you visually see yourself flatting the third every single time. 1, 2, 3, flat. So the C, D, E becomes E flat. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And put down the G again. If it was diminished, then you do the same thing, except you flat the third and the fifth. So starting on C, you go 1, 2, 3, flat that. So there's your E flat again. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you take the G, flat that, becomes a G flat. And if you did augmented, we'll just stick with C because why not? Keep it simple. So C, obviously the 1 again, then 1, 2, 3, E, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sharp the 5. So G becomes G sharp. So it's good to just go through those steps so you continue to visually see that you are raising a note up or lowering a note down. For the most part, you're going to be lowering things down. The augment is the only one you're going to be sharpening anything. And then I just continue memorizing those scale shapes. You know, one right after the next. And I think that about covers it. But if any questions come up, please let me know. And I'll see you next week.